Battle Through the Heavens, the legendary xianxia novel that shook all of China and spread across Asia. In a world where dou qi is everything, there once was a prodigy who made the entire continent tremble, Xiao Yan. Yet when disaster struck, he lost all his strength, becoming nothing but a laughingstock. Refusing to bow to fate, Xiao Yan embarked on a heaven-defying journey, from a despised cripple to step-by-step climbing to the peak. Writing a legend that even the strongest experts must bow before. Collision Battle Through the Heavens is not just a story, it's a phenomenon. Author Heavenly Silkworm Potato crafted this novel with over 1.600 chapters, drawing in billions of online reads, dominating China's webnovel charts for years. Clapperboard, it has been adapted into manhua, 3D animation, and live-action drama, each version sparking a craze, attracting hundreds of millions of views, proving its irresistible allure. Right Finger Battle Through the Heavens is not only a novel, it's a living legend. The burning passion of youth for millions of readers across the world. Now, dear readers, let us step into Chapter 1, The Fallen Genius. The 5 large words shining faintly on the black testing stone were dazzling to the eye. The young boy's face remained calm, though his expression carried a trace of self-mockery. His fists clenched so tightly that his nails pierced into his palm, sending waves of pain through his soul. Xiao Yan, dou qi, 3 stages. Rank, low. Beside the testing stone, a middle-aged man glanced briefly at the result and announced in an indifferent tone. The moment his words fell, as expected, the plaza burst into mocking laughter and ridicule. 3 stages? Hey, just as I predicted, this so-called genius hasn't improved at all for an entire year. Sigh, this trash has truly shamed the entire clan. If the clan leader wasn't his father, this kind of waste would have long been expelled from the family to fend for himself, without the luxury of eating and drinking here for free. The young prodigy of Wu-Tan City back then. How did he end up like this today? Who knows, maybe he did something to offend the heavens, and the gods punished him. The mocking and pitying voices around stabbed into Xiao Yan's ears like sharp blades, making his breathing grow heavy. Slowly raising his head, his youthful but handsome face came into view. His dark eyes swept over the jeering peers around him. A bitter smile tugged at his lips, deepening his sense of sorrow. These people, are they all this idle? Perhaps because 3 years ago they smiled so obsequiously before me. Now they want to take back their pride. Bitterly smiling, Xiao Yan dejectedly walked to the end of the line, his lonely figure seeming out of place with the world around him. Next, Xiao Mei. At the examiner's call, a young girl quickly stepped out from the crowd. The surrounding whispers quieted, and countless fiery gazes fixed upon her youthful face. She was not yet 14, though not a peerless beauty. Her immature face held a faint charm, an intriguing mix of innocence and allure that made her the focus of the entire square. Xiao Mei approached swiftly, her hand gently stroking the familiar testing stone before closing her eyes. As she did, the black stone lit up once more. Dou qi, 7 stages. Xiao Mei, dou qi, 7 stages. Rank, high. Hearing the examiner's declaration, the girl lifted her chin and smiled proudly. Tisk tisk, 7 stages of dou qi, at this pace. In less than 3 years she'll become a true dou practitioner. No doubt, she's a true seedling of the clan. The sounds of admiration made the girl's smile even brighter. Vanity, something few young women could resist. Remembering the times she gossiped with her sisters, Xiao Mei's gaze suddenly passed through the crowd and fell on a lonely figure. Her brows furrowed slightly, but she quickly dismissed the thought. Now the two of them no longer stood on the same level. Judging from Xiao Yan's performance these past years, at best he would end up as a low-ranking servant of the clan, while her own talent guaranteed her as one of the clan's rising stars. Her future was limitless. Sigh, with a soft sigh, Xiao Mei couldn't help recalling the youth from 3 years ago, already training at 4. Reaching 9 stages of dou qi at 10. Breaking through to 10 stages at 11. Successfully condensing dou qi vortex and becoming the clan's youngest dou practitioner in 100 years. That youth, so confident and brimming with potential, had stirred the hearts of many young girls, including her own. But the path of a genius is always filled with tribulations. 3 years ago, at the peak of his fame, disaster struck without warning. Overnight, the hard-earned Do Chi vortex vanished. Worse, his Do Chi grew weaker day by day, draining away mysteriously. The result? A continual drop in strength. From a peerless prodigy, he fell lower than even an ordinary person. Such a cruel blow shattered his spirit. The title of genius was soon replaced with ridicule and scorn. The higher one climbs, the harder the fall, and this fall might be one he could never rise from again. Next, Xiao Yan. The examiner's voice rang out once more, this time accompanied by a refined name. The crowd immediately fell silent, all eyes turning. There she stood, a young girl in purple robes, calm and composed despite being the center of attention. Her aura was serene, like a lotus just blooming. Though still young, her temperament was extraordinary. It was hard to imagine how breathtakingly beautiful she would become when she grew older. Compared to Xiao Mei earlier, this purple-robed girl's beauty and grace far surpassed her. No wonder everyone reacted as they did. Stepping gracefully forward, Xiao Yan placed her delicate hand on the black stone. Her sleeve slid down, revealing snow-white skin as her fingers touched the cold surface. After a brief silence, the stone lit up with dazzling brilliance. Do Chi, 9 stages. Rank, high. Seeing the words, the square fell silent. Already 9 stages, terrifying. Among the clan's younger generation, surely no one can rival Miss Xuan. After the hush, the youths couldn't help swallowing nervously, eyes filled with awe. Do Chi, the path every practitioner must walk. From stage 1 to 10. And upon reaching stage 10, one could condense a Do Chi vortex and become a true Do practitioner. Respected by all. In the crowd, Xiao Mei frowned, jealousy flashing in her eyes as she looked at the purple-robed girl. Even the usually indifferent examiner revealed a rare smile. His voice grew respectful. Miss Xuan, in half a year, you should be able to condense your Do Chi vortex. If successful, becoming a true Do practitioner at the age of 14, you will be the second in the Xiao clan in 100 years. Yes, the second. The first was none other than the fallen genius, Xiao Yan. Thank you. The girl nodded gently, her face calm, unaffected by praise. Turning away, she walked gracefully to the back of the crowd, stopping before the dejected youth. Xiao Yan Gege. Pausing before him, she bowed respectfully, her elegant smile drawing envy from the surrounding girls. Do I still have the qualifications for you to call me that? Xiao Yan's bitter voice asked. Once the brightest star of the clan, he had fallen so low. She was one of the very few who still treated him with respect. Xiao Yan Gege. You once told Xuan, only by letting go can one grasp again. Only through balance can one find freedom. Xuan's gentle smile and soft voice warmed even his withered heart. Huh, freedom? I was only spouting words. Look at me now. Do I seem free? Besides, this world no longer belongs to me. Xiao Yan laughed bitterly. Frowning, Xuan replied earnestly. Xiao Yan Gege. I don't know why this has happened to you, but Xuan believes you will rise again. Reclaim your glory and dignity. Her cheeks flushed faintly as she added softly. The Xiao Yan of back then was truly captivating. Embarrassed by her candid words, the boy gave a self-deprecating chuckle, saying nothing more. Once, he might have pursued such feelings, but now he no longer had the qualification. Quietly, he turned and walked away. Standing there, watching his lonely back, Xiao Xuan hesitated for a moment. Then, ignoring the envious gazes and whispered gossip, she quickly followed, walking shoulder to shoulder with the fallen youth. Chapter 2. The Do Chi Continent. The bright moon shone, and the sky was full of stars. On the mountaintop, Xiao Yan lay on the grass, a green blade of grass between his lips, gently chewing it, letting the bitter taste spread freely in his mouth. Raising his pale hand before his eyes, his gaze passed through the gaps between his fingers to look at the silver moon in the distant sky. Sigh, Thinking of the test that afternoon, Xiao Yan let out a sigh, slowly withdrawing his hand, resting both hands behind his head, his eyes slightly dazed. 15 years already. A faint murmur suddenly slipped from the boy's mouth. In Xiao Yan's heart, there was a secret that only he knew. He was not a person of this world. Or rather, Xiao Yan's soul did not belong to this world. He came from a place called Earth. As for why he ended up here, he could not explain. After living for a while, he understood. He had transmigrated. According to my understanding, transmigration means crossing over into another dimension. As he grew older, Xiao Yan gradually developed a vague understanding of this continent. This continent was called the Do-Chi continent. On this land, there was no so-called magic as in novels. Only Do-Chi reigned supreme. On this continent, through the unrelenting efforts of countless generations, the cultivation of Do-Chi had reached its peak. Moreover, as the range of Do-Chi expanded unceasingly, it eventually spread among the common people. This made Do-Chi increasingly familiar to humanity, and thus, its importance on this continent was irreplaceable. According to records, Do-Chi on this continent was divided into 4 classes and 12 ranks. From low to high, heaven, earth, zan, and huang, and each rank was further divided into 3 levels: low, middle, and high. The level of cultivation technique one practiced was the key to determining one's future achievements. For example, a person cultivating a middle-level zan rank technique would naturally be stronger than someone of the same realm cultivating a middle-level huang rank technique. On the Do-Chi continent, the measure of strength was decided by 3 conditions. First, and most importantly, one's personal strength. If one's strength was only at the level of a 1-star Do-Jie, then no matter how heaven-defying the heaven rank technique, one still could not defeat a Do-Chi practicing a huang rank technique. Second was cultivation techniques. For cultivators of the same rank, if your cultivation method was higher than your opponent's, you would naturally hold a great advantage in battle. The last was Do techniques. As the name suggests, these were special skills used to unleash the power of Do-Chi. On the continent, Do techniques were also divided into 4 classes: heaven, earth, zan, and huang. The number of Do techniques on the continent was not small. The majority circulated publicly were only of the huang rank. To obtain high-level Do techniques, one had to join sects or Do-Chi academies. Of course, some people, through fortuitous encounters or inheritances from predecessors, possessed cultivation methods or Do techniques suited uniquely to themselves. When such techniques were used in harmony with cultivation methods, their power became even greater. With these 3 conditions, one's strength could be judged. Generally speaking, the higher one's cultivation method, the greater one's potential. However, high-level cultivation methods were incredibly difficult to find for ordinary people. Among the common populace, at most only huang rank techniques were available. Some powerful clans or medium-sized sects might possess zan rank techniques. For example, in Xiao Yan's clan, only the clan leader was qualified to practice the strongest method, Mad Lion's Rage, a middle-level zan rank wind attribute technique. Above zan rank was earth rank. Cultivation methods so profound they were only found in supernatural forces or great empires. As for heaven rank, it had not appeared for hundreds of years. In theory, for ordinary people to obtain high-rank techniques was nearly impossible. But nothing was absolute. With the expansion of the Do-Chi continent and the settlement of countless races, many strange bloodlines appeared. In the north, there were tribes renowned for unparalleled physical strength who could merge with beast souls. In the south, there were high-intelligence magical beast clans and sinister, bizarre dark races. Because of this vast land, many nameless hermits, upon the end of their lives, might leave behind the techniques they had created in hidden places, waiting for a destined one to discover them. There was even a saying on the continent: if one day you fall into a cave, do not panic. Take 2 steps forward. Perhaps it will help you become a powerhouse of this world. These were not lies. In the 1,000-year history of the continent, many stories existed of people becoming powerhouses through such fortuitous encounters. Because of such stories, countless people flocked to cliffs and caves. hoping to find peerless cultivation methods. Of course, most returned with broken arms and legs. In short, this was a land full of miracles. And of people who created them. Of course, to even begin cultivating secret douqi manuals, one had to first become a true doujie. And Xiao Yan was still far from that goal. PFT. Spitting out the blade of grass. Xiao Yan suddenly leapt up. His face twisted, shouting angrily at the sky. Damn it, did you transmigrate me through time and space just to make me a useless good-for-nothing? Damn it all. In his previous life, Xiao Yan had been utterly ordinary. Wealth and beauty were two parallel lines that never intersected with him. But after coming to the Douqi continent, Xiao Yan was overjoyed to discover that, thanks to his 2 lifetimes of experience, his soul was much stronger than ordinary people's. It must be known that on the Douqi continent, the soul was innate. It could grow a little stronger with age. But no cultivation method existed that could train the soul alone. Even heaven-rank techniques could not. This was the most basic common knowledge. A strengthened soul gave Xiao Yan extraordinary cultivation talent, and also made him famous as a prodigy. When an ordinary person discovered he had the capital to become the focus of countless gazes, if he lacked enough self-control, it would be difficult to keep his heart steady. Clearly, in his previous life Xiao Yan had been ordinary, without great willpower. Thus, when he began cultivating douqi, he chose to shine as a genius in the spotlight rather than grow quietly in obscurity. If no accident had occurred, Xiao Yan truly could have made the word genius resound louder and louder. Unfortunately, at the age of 11, his reputation was suddenly stripped away by a calamity. Overnight, the prodigy became a laughingstock for all. Ellipsis. After shouting for a while, Xiao Yan's emotions gradually calmed. His face returned to its usual quiet appearance. No matter how furious he was, nothing could bring back the douqi cyclone he had painstakingly cultivated. With a bitter shake of his head, Xiao Yan's heart carried a trace of grievance. He had no idea what had happened to his body. Daily checks revealed nothing wrong. His soul continued to grow stronger with age, and his ability to absorb douqi was even greater than during his peak a few years earlier. All this proved his talent had not declined, yet every bit of douqi he absorbed vanished completely without exception. This strange phenomenon made Xiao Yan deeply despondent. Sighing gloomily, Xiao Yan raised his hand. On his finger was a black ring, ancient and of unknown material. Faint lines etched upon it. It was the only gift his mother had given him before her death. From the age of 4, he had worn it for 10 years. As his mother's keepsake, Xiao Yan held deep attachment to it. Gently stroking the ring, Xiao Yan smiled bitterly. These years, I have truly let down mother's expectations. Letting out another sigh, Xiao Yan suddenly turned his head toward the dark forest and smiled warmly. Father, you've come? Though his douqi was only at the 3rd stage, Xiao Yan's soul perception was keener than even a 5-star doujie. When he mentioned his mother just now, he had already sensed a disturbance in the forest. Haha, Yanner, it's so late, why are you still here? From the forest came the caring laughter of a man after a brief silence. Branches swayed as a middle-aged man stepped out, smiling as he looked at his son standing under the moonlight. The man wore a fine gray robe. His bearing was imposing, his thick brows adding to his aura. This was Xiao Zhan, current clan leader of the Xiao family, father of Xiao Yan, and a 5-star Da Do Shi. Father, aren't you also not resting yet? Seeing the middle-aged man, Xiao Yan's smile deepened, although he had memories of his past life. From birth until now this father had showered him with love. Even after Xiao Yan's fall, his father's care had only increased, never lessened. This was enough for Xiao Yan to willingly call him father. Yanner, still thinking about the test this afternoon? Stepping forward, Xiao Zhan asked with a smile. Haha, what is there to think about? Everything was within expectations. Xiao Yan shook his head, his smile a little forced. Sigh, looking at Xiao Yan's still slightly childish face. Xiao Zhan sighed. After a moment of silence, he suddenly said, Yanner, you're 15 this year, aren't you? Yes, father. In 1 more year, it seems, you'll have to undergo the coming-of-age ceremony? Xiao Zhan said with a bitter smile. That's right, father. Only 1 year left. Xiao Yan's hand clenched slightly. But his tone was calm. He naturally understood what the coming-of-age ceremony represented. If by then he lacked cultivation talent, he would lose the qualification to enter the clan's Do Chi Hall to search for cultivation methods. He would then be assigned to one of the clan's industries to do ordinary work. This was the clan rule, unchangeable even by his father. And if one failed to become a doge before 25, the clan would no longer acknowledge them. I'm sorry, Yanner, if a year from now your dochi has not reached the 7th stage, then even I will be forced to send you to manage the clan's industries. This isn't something I can decide alone. Those old fellows are all waiting for me to make a mistake. Looking at Xiao Yan's calmness, Xiao Zhan sighed with guilt. Father, I will work hard. A year from now, I will definitely reach the 7th stage. Xiao Yan smiled to comfort him. 1 year, raising 4 stages? Haha, if it were before, perhaps, but now, there's not even a sliver of chance. Though he spoke words of comfort, inwardly Xiao Yan mocked himself bitterly. Knowing Xiao Yan all too well, Xiao Zhan could only sigh again. He understood how difficult it was to raise 4 stages in a year. Patting Xiao Yan's head, he suddenly chuckled. It's late already. Go back and rest. Tomorrow, our clan will receive important guests. Don't be impolite. Guests? Who are they? Xiao Yan asked curiously. You'll find out tomorrow. Winking at Xiao Yan, Xiao Zhan laughed heartily as he walked away, leaving Xiao Yan behind in helplessness. Rest assured, father, I will do my best. Stroking the ancient ring on his finger, Xiao Yan raised his head and whispered. At that very moment, the ancient black ring on his finger suddenly emitted a faint, eerie glow. The strange light flashed briefly, unnoticed by anyone.
Victory!